Hello, and welcome to Marking Out with my girlfriend.
This is my girlfriend, Erin.
This is my girlfriend, Kat.
And we've been forgetting how to work for like an entire year now.
Woo!
Welcome to the 1-year anniversary episode, everyone.
I think we're only like 2 days off from our first recording.
Yeah, I think we recorded on the 28th last year.
Yeah.
Because February was a Friday to Friday month last year.
Yeah.
No, it was a Friday to Saturday month because it was a leap year.
Okay, so we still just did...
Which means that leap day is a year old.
Awesome!
My first, decent game was released a year ago.
Now, this isn't the 1-year anniversary of doing a wrestling podcast, though.
No, because we did briefly do that RJ City podcast. And by that, I mean we did it for one episode, we didn't edit it, and we just uploaded it to my SoundCloud.
It was put into an editor.
We didn't edit it. It was bad.
We didn't edit that thing at all. We didn't know what we were doing then.
Obviously, things have changed dramatically in the last year, as evidenced by the fact that I'm a good editor now.
Yes, you are. One of my favorites.
To be fair, I don't think you listen to other podcasts.
I don't. I'm the Kenny Omega of podcasting. I don't listen to any of them, but
Right.
I do really good with the ones I'm on.
That's right. That's why you called yourself a besto podcasto machine.
Yes, thank you for translating that for me too.
You're welcome. Anyway.
So what has been your favorite moment over the past year, Kat?
Oh, God. Have I been scared by my doorbell on stream? Because that might be my favorite.
I don't think so.
Okay. In terms of wrestling, Erica, we're talking about in terms of this podcast, not in terms of life in general.
Yes, meeting Erica in the past year has been very good for both of us.
Yes. Taco has definitely scared. I've definitely jumped on the podcast before, but
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, what is my favorite wrestling moment from the last year?
While you think of that,
Yeah.
I can tell you that mine so far has been our WrestleMania show from last year. Because we couldn't get Twitch to work. So we had to record it without an audience. Which was too perfect.
Oh, that was a very good gimmick.
Really looking back, I should have added some slight echo to that whole thing. Like we're in a big empty room.
Warhorse face paint was a very good one.
Yeah, Warhorse was very good, yeah.
I regret having put acrylic paint on my face.
It came off easy enough. I also liked the Statlander makeup.
That was good. The Alley Cat makeup was good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess those are my favorite us moments. Favorite wrestling moment. I'm gonna say, I know it's fairly recent, and this might be recency bias, but my favorite wrestling moment in the last year that we've been doing this podcast is Jay White and Kota Ibushi. And they're, maybe more specifically, Jay White's promo after that match.
Oh, yeah. I can see that, definitely.
Eddie Kingston coining the phrase world's champion. That's also a good one.
I still really enjoy the casino ladder match.
Where they...
With Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
The
accidental Renaissance painting. Although I guess it's more of like a Baroque painting than a Renaissance painting, but whatever.
Either or, really.
You know what they say. If it ain't Baroque, don't fix it. Now that I've made a Beauty and the Beast quote, Eitzer has pointed out Big E's construction promo.
Also very good.
A incredible promo. I don't...
the first time Tony Khan showed up on Impact. I thought it was hilarious.
I think, Kenny winning the belt off of Mox is a pretty big one.
Yeah, yeah.
Although, I was very high for that match. And I struggled to pay attention.
Okay, so it was the action.
Yeah, no, I think definitely my favorite is seeing all of the Chikara kids make their return to wrestling.
Okay, yeah.
And like come back and start doing really cool stuff for themselves rather than for someone else. Mox getting one over on Jericho is good. I just threw a pen.
Yeah, the emergence of big gay wrestling last Pride Month, all these wrestlers coming out and tenfold increasing the size of these events.
Yeah, no, so now Big Gay Brunch has to be like huge.
Yep.
And also Tony Deppen will be there.
In a Speedo that's 3 sizes too small, but that's okay because it's Tony Deppen.
I think like there's a lot of good that's happened in the last year of wrestling. A lot of not great stuff that's happened.
Yeah, a lot that we've had to, I'll come on here and complain about.
Oh, the Jericho MJF, the Dinner Debonair.
God, no.
Aaron, that was the best thing wrestling's done this year.
I disagree, but okay.
Aaron, wrestling has always been musical theater. You just don't like to acknowledge it.
I just don't want the musical part.
So you don't mind the theater.
Oh yeah, no, like wrestling is campy theater all over the place.
So, what do we want to talk about this week?
Well, I can think of a couple things that we were going to touch on last week. We had to push back. And those things have only gotten bigger since then, actually.
Yeah, actually.
Things like the AEW Women's World Championship Eliminator Tournament. Oh my goodness. Tournament. I got through most of that. So yeah, since the last time we talked, I think the tournament has fully started. Or at least the Japanese half is.
No.
Either way, let's just start.
There had been one match in the tournament the last time we
Thunder Rosa and Layla Hirsch.
Yes.
Yeah, that was on the Dynamite before we recorded last.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so that was very good. We had most of the Japanese brackets since then. We've had a bunch of the American brackets since then. So, you want to start on the Japanese half and just go over what's happened?
I would love to. Because there was a lot.
Yeah, we started off with Yuka Sakazaki and Mei Saruga. I love her theme music. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh, I love it too.
It's so good. Now, this one and the one afterwards were actually kind of similar because they were very like fast-paced technical matches going on, really showing off the athleticism that all these women are bringing with them.
Yeah, no, like there was a lot that like it's a shame that this was all on YouTube because it was some really high quality, like television quality wrestling from people who wouldn't otherwise get their names out there.
Like if we weren't in the whole pandemic situation, this could have been like a pay-per-view tournament to hold. That's how good all this stuff was.
Like just like the amount of quality wrestling that you got in the like hour or however long it was that that the first episode was. I mean, like all of those matches were really good. They communicated their stories incredibly effectively. Yeah. Like better than a lot of the bullshit that they put on Dynamite does most of the time. Yeah, you got to see Emi Sakura play the heel, which is a very odd turn for her. Yeah,
from what we've seen before of her AEW time, I think she does more heel stuff over in Japan.
Okay, I mean, like being the boss in Japan, you know, if you're the boss of the promotion, you kind of get to do more heel stuff. Yeah. You're the authority figure.
Yeah, everyone likes to see you get beat up.
We got to see Sekai Ichikwai Noah.
Again?
Sekai Ichikwai Noah.
In English?
Who's the cutest in the world?
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, we did get to see Maki Ito.
You're supposed to say Ito-chan, Aaron.
I
Forgot. It's her one chant. Obviously
like
not a member of the Ito Respect Army.
Yeah, I know. I was cheering against Maki Ito. Oops.
Well, this is an Ito Respect Army podcast.
Because she had her match with Ryo Mizunami.
Mm-hmm.
Who I am all in for.
What, you mean the big butch lady?
Yeah. Listen, don't judge me.
I'm not judging you. I understand.
It's the listeners. They're judging me. I can feel it.
Aaron, like, most of the people in chat are in the Polycule server.
Oh, so they already know. Gotcha.
So
actually, Maki and Ryo's one I wanted to talk about for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, we had Yuka Sakazaki and Mei Saruga and Benny and Emi Sakura having, like, very technical, athletic matches. And then Maki and Ryo having this very characterful match. Like, almost staged like a Haas match.
Yeah, no, it worked really, really, really well.
Yeah, you got a lot of character and a lot of personality out of both of them, and how they played off each other with that. And I honestly think that might be my favorite one from that card that a couple weeks ago.
It was good. It was very good. That whole card was really enjoyable to watch. Aitsu pointed out that Mizunami-san is the Butch Okada.
Yep, that she is. Just look her up, and yeah, that's exactly what you get. You get Okada looking.
You get Okada, but Butch.
Yeah.
And like
I said, I'm on board.
I enjoyed it. There was nothing about that tournament. Those 4 matches maybe felt like they deserved a little bit more respect from AEW.
Yes, definitely.
Aaron, you shared a fun fact with me that that was filmed in the Ice Ribbon facility.
Yes. Yeah, so like you have a whole overlay of Joshi wrestling going on here because you have wrestlers who primarily work in Tokyo Joshi Pro. You have a couple like in Rio and May who do a lot of work in Choco Pro. And you have the Ice Ribbon Arena. So it comes together in this really cool picture.
Have we talked about Choco Pro on the show?
I think we mentioned it when you first showed it to me.
We it must have been the barest of mentions because you hadn't watched any shows yet. Maybe? No, I don't think I told you about Choco Pro until after the show. Because they do their show on Saturday mornings in Japan, which is Friday nights here. So I would have seen it on Twitter during the show. Night. Choco Pro and the entirety of Gato Move Wrestling is free to watch. There will never be a paywall for any of their content, but they do have a Patreon if you'd like to support them. Support us first. Please. I want to eventually quit my job.
That would be great. I'm just going to throw that link into chat real quick. But yeah, that is the Gotta Move YouTube page. There's like 5 seasons of Choco Pro on here. Warning, it does get loud.
Yeah, so I'm trying to... What was the descriptor that I used for Choco Pro? That it's like, if you took... Oh, okay. It's like public access. No, it's UHF. It's the UHF version of wrestling. Right? For those of you old enough to remember UHF channels, does that make sense?
A little bit. I would describe it as like indoor backyard.
Or at the very least, if you remember Weird Al's movie, where he has that UHF station and they get the janitor to do the weird show where it's like Oh god, what was the competition that they had to do?
I don't remember.
I
How
don't
long do you
remember
think it's been
either.
since I've seen that movie?
That movie was so funny. I love that movie. So
But
yeah,
yeah,
Choco Pro is that kind of like very DIY aesthetic, but
it's
Joshi,
filmed in like an office.
yeah, it looks, because of the padding and the coloration and everything like that, it kind of looks like it's filmed in a kindergarten classroom.
Yeah, they've got like the really cheap shock foam that you
Hmm.
put around like a workbench, and they've got that on the walls. They've got a big brown mat in the center of it.
Which is why it's called Choco Pro, because it's the chocolate bar mat.
And
Um,
if you want to do anything high flying, you have to go into the window.
yeah, so they have slide windows that will slide open. You have to stand on the windowsill to do any high spots, which is very unconventional, but like I just love the fact that these people are out there doing weird wrestling for the love of it
Yep.
on a brown like gymnastics mat in like a random building in Tokyo.
Now you also have to remember, in this small room, there's about a dozen people in there for each match, and they're all making a bunch of noise. So
No,
turn the
it's not
browser
a it's
down
not a
first.
dozen people. It's like the wrestlers, which can be up to 4,
So you've got 4 wrestlers, a ref,
a
the
ref.
camera person, the person running the stream, and probably 2 other people helping out in the background. So
I think
I got
I think there's fewer than that. I think it's just the person running the stream, which is usually Aki, I assume.
probably. Well, actually, I saw one 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago was their end of season. I think they're starting up again this weekend, where they had a tag match of Veni and Emi Sakura
Mhm.
taking on the Best Bros, who are Mei Saruga and I'm not going to try to pronounce his first name, but Aki. It's like I can see it in my mind. I am not going to be able to pronounce that right now today. And at one point, Veni gets thrown out of the window. And,
That's amazing.
and then Aki follows through.
There's a lot of really 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 fun stuff that they do that like you can't do with other wrestling arenas spaces.
You can make some very creative work out of that space and what they have set up.
Absolutely. And they do a
Oh, and
very
don't
good
forget the
job
rock
of
paper
it.
scissors. Don't forget the rock paper scissors tournament after the show.
Oh yes, they also, yeah, so they start most of the shows with asking you to do some stretches along with them.
Which is kind of fun.
It is. You should do the stretches. They're a lot of fun. And then they end each show with a rock paper scissors tournament. It's a very DIY aesthetic. It appeals to me as someone who's like would put on the lowest possible budget wrestling show.
Just to put on a wrestling show.
It feels very like homey in a way.
Mm-hmm.
This is also this, so to be more specific, this is one of Emi Sakura's promotions. I think I know we've probably talked about it a little bit, but I want to talk about it just a tiny bit more. Specifically to mention that like I feel like for whatever her gimmick might be, the Freddie Mercury thing doesn't make a ton of sense to me still. But like I appreciate Emi Sakura for the fact that she goes out of her way to make wrestling in Japan more inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it's not often that you see queer wrestlers in Japan, but like every promotion that Emi Sakura's had her hands in starting has had like, you know, various kinds of queer people throughout. And like it's impressive that, particularly with how conservative Japanese culture is right now, that she's going out of her way to do these things. It's really like it makes you feel good to know that there's someone who cares out there.
Yeah, she has worked her way up through like women's wrestling, where we know what that's like in North America. So she worked her way up through that in Japan, and like is so involved that if you get into it, you're going to be involved with her.
Mm-hmm.
So her influence is just everywhere through that,
And like,
which is good.
no, it is. It's very good. And then like DDT obviously does, you know, mixed gender stuff. Like,
Yeah.
You know, so you get like a good mixed gender matches and stuff like that on Choco Pro as well. I mean, like their number one tag team is a mixed gender tag team.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it really means something to have that kind of like in your face sort of representation when Japan is a country where gay marriage still isn't legal. You know, the closest thing that the way they've been trying to change hearts and minds is by having like civil contract ceremonies, but those don't entitle you to any benefits. They're just to prove that you're committed to the other person, so you still don't get hospital visitation and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's very difficult to be a queer person in Japan right now in particular. I need to stop playing with paper. It's very difficult to be a queer person in Japan right now, and having like a trans person featured so prominently in both an AEW, two trans people featured very prominently in the AEW tournament, two lesbians as well, if you want to count Mizunami-san and Nyla.
Yeah.
So like, there's a good representation of queer people, and like, you know, maybe I do get it. Emi Sakura's mentor, or not mentor, her hero is Freddie Mercury, and what better way to honor Freddie Mercury's legacy than by helping other queer people?
Yeah.
So that's me circling around on Emi Sakura's gimmick there.
Real time.
In real time.
So yeah, let's get back to the tournament, I guess.
Yeah, no, sorry, I went on a tangent there.
No, it's fine. I'm it's like, I gotta segue from this now. But yeah, coming out of the first round, we had Yuka Sakazaki, we had Emi Sakura, we had Ryo Mizunami, woo, and we had Aja Kong.
Which, yeah, to be expected.
Yeah, 25-year veteran of Japanese wrestling. Like, she's scary.
Like,
when Kobayashi went to shake her hand, she did nothing. She's scary.
Yeah, and like Rin Kadokura did a very good job wrestling against Aja Kong too. Like,
yes,
it worked really well, and I was very impressed with Kadokura just from the fact that she was able to do so much against Aja Kong of all people.
Yeah. So
do we want to talk about the Veni versus Emi Sakura match a little bit?
Sure. And how just what a great showing for Veni, and how just straight up athletic they can be.
Yeah, no, like Veni's athleticism is just genuinely very impressive. Being able to like roll out of so many of those moves and everything like that.
Yeah, very counter heavy match that one was. And Veni was very much played as the babyface for this for the match itself.
Yeah.
Afterwards is a whole different deal.
Oh no. Yeah, I mean, like I get that. It made sense. No, but like there's the fact that, you know, you got to see a trans wrestler be the face.
Yeah. Now we cheer on Nyla Rose, and she's a heel, but I like cheering her on because she is a heel.
Yeah, no, like
it's like gay wrath.
It's a good way to describe it. No, and like seeing, I keep saying like, but seeing Emi Sakura seeing Emi Sakura really dive deep and sink her teeth into like playing that heel character and just genuinely kind of being an asshole was enjoyable.
Oh, yeah. Even more so in the follow-up match in the quarterfinals too. Because in the quarterfinals we had Yuka Sakazaki and Emi Sakura, where Emi came out with a whole entourage. And they did what an entourage does.
Of course. What else do entourages do in wrestling other than interfere in the match?
Interfere and cheat and ultimately lose.
Mm-hmm. Because otherwise, it's not fun.
Yeah.
Because wrestling, at the end of the day, wrestling is a morality play.
Mm-hmm.
Cheaters never prosper.
That's why WWE's bad at it, because Vince McMahon has no morals.
Exactly.
Boom. Yuka did end up winning in the quarterfinals, which then brings whole entourage in to beat her down, which then brings out Shida, who was doing commentary for the Japanese production.
Mm-hmm.
And so she cleared out the ring, and that's going to be a whole 6-person match on Sunday on the Bleacher Report show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I hope I can still watch it because I don't want to sign up for the Bleacher Report.
That's fair.
Yes, Hikaru Shida in a white suit is...
Okay. Yeah.
Yep, it was very good. And more important than that, I thought, was Ryo Mizunami and Aja Kong. Because I was worried about this one.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's Aja Kong. She could run through whoever she wants.
Mm-hmm.
I want Ryo to keep going, though. But they played it really well. It was still a pretty long match where they just brawled and kept each other going until the end when Aja Kong got counted out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, no one's gonna assume you're gonna pin or submit Aja Kong. Count out, we can all believe, though.
Count out's a clever way to go about it.
Mm-hmm. And
then,
it's something that's not done a lot.
Yeah, and you're not like discounting Aja Kong being Aja Kong.
Yeah.
But I think that worked really well. I've enjoyed the Japanese commentary more than Excalibur doing commentary in like his bathroom. Because his mic is really echoey.
Yeah, it's not the best setup. He doesn't have enough soft things around him. Get more soft things, like these.
Or Gritty.
Yeah, or Gritty back there. Gritty is the perfect soundboard. I think it's definitely improved.
No, absolutely. But yeah, just like the Japanese commentary has been really enjoyable to listen to. And I think it's worth like just hearing the excitement from that commentary team rather than just Excalibur on his own. Because Excalibur is great at the play-by-play, but he needs someone to play off of in order to be at his best.
They brought in Taz this week for stuff, I believe, right?
I don't know. I haven't had time to catch up.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they brought Taz in, and yes, it was definitely much better.
Mm-hmm.
Because they play off each other, and they actually kept on topic, unlike on Dark.
Yeah, no, well, they take Dark a little less seriously, you know?
Because it's usually 2 in the friggin' morning.
Yeah, they're very loopy. I don't know. I just watched listening to the Japanese commentary. I didn't look for subtitles.
Yeah. I'm sure someone's added them by now.
I've got those ultra weeb powers. No, you can't do community subtitles anymore.
You can't?
No, YouTube took that away. I know, right?
The internet is shit.
Community subtitles was like the best part of YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Google wanted to force everyone to... Right, Alphabet wanted to force everyone to use their fucking...
Yeah.
Proprietary auto-translate software that does a terrible job. Like how Tabletop Sim was like, well, we ran everything through Google Translate, and if native speakers want to have us correct anything, they can let us know.
Because as I learned this week, Google Translate doesn't take into account any context.
How'd you learn that one?
By reading Ryo Mizunami's Twitter profile. Because I read, it's like, why is this translated as he?
And then, oh, that's right. Okay. Let's circle around to this here. Google Translate is very unreliable when it comes to Japanese. Because Japanese doesn't have third-person pronouns, right? So when you, like, take a phrase, like the first phrase in Ryo Mizunami's Twitter profile is, pro wrestler de Aniki Toyoba Retemas.
Those were words.
Yeah, so specifically, Aniki is a term for older brother. So, given the specific connotation of a word that means older brother, Google Translate says, oh yeah, he. Which, can lead to innocent little trans Aaron getting confused because, wait, does Ria Mizunami use multiple pronouns?
I'm so confused.
So yeah, no, that's basically the gist of it. So Google Translate doesn't take into account the fact that Aniki is used differently here.
Yeah, because I've gotten to the point where I feel like I can trust Excalibur on pronouns, considering he used they, them for Venny the whole match.
Yeah, no.
I've gotten to that point where, like, okay, I'm going to trust your word here, and then get very confused by Google Translate. That was a fun 5 minutes.
So yeah, no, Aniki is an honorable term for an older brother or superior. But, so here's where Google Translate also failed. When you are referring to a brother or respected superior, you use that spelling of Aniki. When you go to Ryo Mizunami's profile, she uses that spelling of Aniki.
At no time would I think that's the same word.
Welcome to non-phonetic alphabet. Okay, so Japanese is weird because it's a hybrid of phonetic alphabet and pictographic alphabet.
Okay.
So, like, the kanji, the first one, is based on, like, those, like, the Chinese characters. The language group, or the letter system below, is the one that's used for, like, foreign words, loan words, or, like, non-standard words. So, like, when you have a word like pro wrestler, that literally just says pro wrestler.
Okay.
Like, pro wrestler.
I see, okay.
So that is a phonetic alphabet. So you've got to learn both for Japanese.
Oh my goodness. You know what? I can barely do English, so I think I'm good. I'll just let you figure this out.
But yeah, now, who do you think is going to win between Sakazaki-san and Mizunami-san?
I have to go Mizunami. I've had her back the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to stop now.
That's fair. I think it's going to be Yuka Sakazaki.
Okay.
Because it's going to be easier to sell her to the American audience because people already love her.
Yeah, I mean, she's very lovable. She's been on the show a bunch. Producer Aitu also going for Yuka Sakazaki.
Aaron, you don't need to read that out like that anymore. People can read chat on the video now.
Yep, I forgot that part, so... Yep. Yeah, I'm still going for Rio through this whole thing. I'd like to see her even show up at the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
What about the American side? Because a lot got done the past couple weeks on that.
So I haven't actually been able to follow much of that. I know we lost Anna Jay to shoulder injury.
Yeah, very unfortunately, Anna Jay had to pull out. We got Maddie Rinkowski in her place, but I wasn't very impressed with the match they gave her to have.
Yeah, it's like definitely an emergency fill-in kind of situation. It's like when Kenny had to wrestle Sonny Kiss instead of Janela.
Yeah. And at the same time, it's like, Maddie did pretty good. I really would have liked to see Big Swole or Abaddon or one of the people who wasn't on the original list get put in.
Big Swole has kind of disappeared ever since that match with Britt Baker.
Yeah. She's still active on Twitter. I hadn't even seen her in the crowd, is the thing.
I think she just might be injured and keeping it private.
I don't know. I saw her yell at someone the other day for saying she was injured, so...
I don't know then.
I don't know. I have no inside information on this.
I don't either, and I don't plan on bothering her about it.
No.
Because I respect people's privacy.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I would have liked to see her in it, but and we also had Ty Conte and Nyla Rose, who put on a very good match.
Oh my god.
Very hard hitting, very fast, very technical. Like all those things I love to see in a match got thrown together.
Mm-hmm.
And Nyla did end up coming out on that one. We had Riho and Serena Deeb in. Okay. I think we talked about this last time. The perception a lot of people had with Riho last time she was in. Because a lot of her matches, like not the bigger ones, like with Sheeta or Nyla or anything, but like her weekly matches became very formulaic of her just overcoming. And my battery just died in that. And this was not that at all. This was a very good reintroduction to Riho.
Absolutely.
Very, very counter heavy this whole match. They just kind of rolled each other around for 15 minutes.
It does help that like she has a relatively similar build and size to Serena Deeb, so it's not like she's completely outsized. Like
she's not 3 feet shorter.
Even Chris Statlander is huge compared.
Chris Statlander is just huge. So,
well, I mean, she's normal size for her species.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah,
I assume.
I'm gonna guess so. So yeah, we've ended up with the quarterfinals and the American side of Thunder Rosa and Riho, which is yet to take place. I'm really looking forward to that. And Nyla Rose and Britt Baker, who had their match this past Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Where it really did look like Britt was going to go over on this and just keep going right through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, between the interference and the cheating and pulling a turnbuckle off and really working on Nyla's arm through the whole match. It really looked like she was leading up to actually going through on this one. And she didn't.
Hey.
Our girl Nyla Rose won again with like it was almost a one-handed captured beast bomb,
which is so cool looking.
It was awesome. It was also the second one of the night, so it's just like, oh, so cool. So we know Nyla has moved on to the semifinals now. We just need to get her opponent out of Thunder Rosa and Riho.
Okay, I want to go first on this one.
Okay.
I think it's going to be Riho. I think we're going to have a rematch of Nyla versus Riho. Because remember...
the rubber match?
Yeah. Like, Nyla took Riho's championship.
Yeah.
So...
I expect it to be Thunder Rosa.
Oh, okay.
I think she's on a big roll right now. And I think Nyla and Thunder Rosa would be a great match.
No, I agree. I guess it would be weird to have the, you know, like, you think about it, right? If we make it to the semifinals and it's Nyla versus Riho, Sakazaki versus Mizunami, and then whoever wins each of those goes on to, like, 4 out of the 5 people in the tournament at that stage are Japanese.
Yeah. You could very easily end up with an all Joshi finals, which doesn't look like what they would want out of this tournament.
But at the same time, logistically, Riho is able to get back to Japan. She is currently in Japan.
The thing is, the winner has to be in America for the 7th.
Unless they're doing a remote match.
Possibly. I think that would be cool to go, like, to another facility to see this match, like kind of hype it up that way.
So, like, there's a couple of questions around international travel with this, because
Yeah,
I'm sure they've worked all that out already, though. Like, it's the sort of thing that you
do
talk to your
before you
government
start.
about beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that it's something that's going to work.
Yeah, it's like they got Hikaru Shida into Japan.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
that's likely because she's a citizen and allowed to return. The question
yeah,
is her leaving to go to the U.S.
Meet in the middle of the match, and so happens in Hawaii.
God damn it, I too.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot that from the Britt Baker Nyla Rose match when Nyla had gotten Britt into a corner and went to the other side to get ready to run. The rest like, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna break your leg again. I love Nyla Rose shit talk so much.
She's so great. So anyway, we've spent nearly an hour
Talking about women's wrestling, which we should.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a great tournament so far. I can't wait to see how it finishes up. And that's what I'm going to leave it at for now.
All right. So, do we want to spend a little bit of time talking about our favorite IWTV streamed event over the last couple of weeks?
Yes. Yes. A million times yes.
On Valentine's Day, Camp Leapfrog did their event, Camp Love Frog, which was a Valentine's Day themed Camp Leapfrog wrestling event.
Complete with their own rewrite of Love Shack.
Mm-hmm.
It was so silly.
Mm-hmm. So Camp Leapfrog, or Camp Love Frog, was also masterful storytelling. Like, I think it's the best storytelling Camp Leapfrog has done so far in like their in their event stories.
Yeah, they really narrowed it down. They really got to the heart of the matter and were able to tell that probably a little more effectively than previous shows.
It was very well formatted.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it was I want to say it was a lively show. Like, no match felt like it dragged. It was lively. It was genuinely funny, and the action was the action ranged from really good to holy shit incredible.
And a little bit of silly in there too.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
A good show.
So, Still Life is throwing a Valentine's Day party, and she's planned to have all sorts of matches set up to help people find true love. It's very cute.
But they're also like randomly drawn Valentine's cards that
Yes.
she has.
Now, Effie is there, and Effie offers to help.
How thoughtful of him.
But we come to find out, devious as those gays are, Effie has decided to sabotage Still Life's Valentine's Day party for reasons?
How devious of him.
How devious those gays are. There's a whole undercurrent to each of these matches that is Effie slowly trying to sabotage Still Life's party, and then Boomer and Molly eventually overhear, because Effie was working with the Runway,
His fellow gays.
Because how devious the gays are. This is where Erica would play the sound effect. Whoop! Leave the gays alone.
Oh, why do I have to remember the soundboard?
So, the show starts off with a speed dating 5-way scramble match, which is Hot Dog Starks, Dan Champion, CC Boost, Zero, and Twitch DeSangrio.
Yeah, CC Boost, some people might remember from
the massive bulldog from off the balcony on Still Life.
Yep. He did that, and he still got on her show.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good Still Life is.
Exactly.
And what a fun, fast way to start this whole thing off.
Absolutely. Like, it worked so well.
And
Zero,
it was so good seeing Zero again. Yeah.
yes. And, like, Zero had some really good character drama.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just worked so well.
Yeah, it's like Zero is the one I've really been missing from the Chikara kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because he doesn't seem to get as much work as, like, Molly and Boomer.
No, and, like,
Probably with a shoot job and whatnot.
yeah, either shoot job or, like, you know, Molly and Boomer also just kind of have a little bit more name recognition because they go together, you know?
Yeah.
Like, having a tag partner is pretty indispensable for, you know, there's not a lot of, like, indie wrestlers who have consistent tag teams that haven't been pulled to some promotion or another over the course of the pandemic.
And it's kind of funny, though, like, logistically speaking, how much rarer tag teams are. Because you figure if you have a tag team, yeah, you get a little less cut per match because you got to split it.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got someone to travel with. You've got someone to at least talk to.
Split expenses, stuff like that.
Split expenses. You get... You have that guarantee where you don't have to go looking for a buddy to go with you or hope that someone that you know is on the same show. So
Yeah, so
tag team wrestling makes sense.
tag team wrestling is good. So anyway, our second match of Camp Love Frog was very funny.
Oh, you did forget something from speed dating.
Oh?
Is afterwards, Zero was a little bit hot with himself and not being able to live up to his own expectations and unmasked himself.
It turns out Zero
camera.
is blonde.
Yeah, who would have guessed Zero was a blonde?
Not I.
So the next time we see Zero, he might not have a mask?
We also got the second match, the blind date blindfold match.
Reminiscent of Jake the Snake Roberts versus Rick Martel in that glorious epic of what the fuckery.
Yeah, but I mean, it was very, very good. So we got a little sketch to open this up, right? Like, or was that the Kaya McKenna and Ryan Nova match? We got a sketch for each match, actually.
Yeah, this one was the first time we get them pulling names and then pulling the wrestlers aside to get them into the match because they had to blindfold these ones.
And which was interesting because Basic Becca's blindfold did not want to stay on.
It did. It kept falling off, and not including the couple of times he actually just lifted it. It did not want to stay in place.
You know, sometimes you just gotta live with it.
Yeah, you take what you're given, you roll with it, you make a great match out of it.
And they made a great match out of it. Plenty of sweet, a little bit of drama. It worked really well. But they didn't have that love connection.
Oh, they didn't?
No, and it's because a certain someone has been interfering with the selection.
It's those devious gays, isn't it?
Yes. Those devious gays. So we now get our third match, which starts with a sketch of Kaya McKenna and Ryan Nova on a date, and Ryan Nova orders her water instead of letting her pick what she wants to drink. He, like, goes, like, complete cheapskate, and it's like, oh, and by the way, we're going Dutch, right? Like, just a very bad first date.
Oh, man. So they actually have a match to find out who pays.
Yes. Was it they announced it as winner must pay?
Yeah, I think that's what they said. I think they meant loser must pay. Who knows? You know, It's not as bad as Loser Must Win.
Not as bad as Loser Must Win. Was this the match that had magic in it?
Yes.
That's right. Kaya McKenna uses magical spells and goddess energy to defeat Ryan Nova.
And if you follow her Twitter, she actually gives out astrology advice.
Hey, it's pretty good. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I'll always enjoy weird matches like that.
Oh, yeah. Give me character and weirdness any day. But Kaya did end up winning this one, so she paid?
I think it's implied that Ryan Nova had to pay but didn't have his wallet.
I honestly think they just both dined and dashed at that restaurant.
They didn't actually get any food, though.
Huh. So they really did nothing wrong in all of this.
Yeah. So our next match was the Camper of the Year Fatal 4-Way Tag Match.
Oh my gosh.
Between Oreo Speedwagon, the Goons, the Big Bad Booty Daddies, and Crush Cakes.
I'm a big fan of Crush Cakes as a name.
It's a good one.
That's the team of Pancakes and Crusher. So.
Yes. The Goons were Eel O'Neill and Miles Millennium.
With Big Dust on the outside.
Mm-hmm. The Big Bad Booty Daddies, that was...
Trajan Horn.
And Ron Voyage.
Yes.
There we go. We got there.
And we all know who Oreo Speedwagon is. If you don't, stop listening now and go watch some Oreo Speedwagon.
But it's Xavier Faraday and Josh Wavra.
We love so much. And who are heels?
And Wavra was playing such a good heel.
Oh my gosh.
I loved that side of them. Like, Oreo Speedwagon typically is, like the baby faces. In the Halloween special, they were the good guys in the Trick or Treat Smell My Feet match. They were wearing Sailor Moon uniforms, and it was cute and adorable.
They were bouncing around and having so much fun.
And then you get Wavra, who... there's the I'm having fun dressed as a Sailor Scout Wavra, and then there's a respect my pronouns or I'll break your fucking arm Wavra.
Yeah, and they will.
I love that for them.
They, them, as in they will fucking kill you.
They, them, as in they will break your arm if you don't get their pronouns correct.
Like, I know Josh Wavra's pronouns. I'm a little bit scared still.
I'm a little bit turned on.
That too, but okay.
Sorry.
Wait, what? Oh, we don't do that anymore.
No, the horny energy is only for unsound theories, right?
Yep. We're completely innocent here. So yeah, throughout the match, you had Joshua Wavra being more and more tenacious and willing to get rougher.
Aggressive and brutal.
And Xavier Faraday, trying to calm them down a little bit. It's like, okay, it's just a match for a piece of paper. It's not that important.
But it was to Wavra.
And then at the end, it was to Xavier.
Yeah. He had this moment where he just, a light switch flipped. And he was
got it.
In on it. Completely ready to be as brutal as he needed to be to win that match. And it worked out for them.
Oh.
Now, okay, in a fatal 4-way tag match where, two legal men, regardless of who you can tag out to anyone kind of situation. I still don't get why you don't just, get in the ring with your partner and then take the pin. Do you win and lose? Does it cancel out?
Outlaw rule.
Because of the what?
Because of the outlaw rule. Oh, here we go.
This is where Aaron gets to explain something.
So, way back in the Attitude Era, there was actually a pretty strong tag division in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And at the top of that was the New Age Outlaws, Billy Gunn and Road Dogg Jesse James. And so on one Raw, there was a match for the tag team titles. It was a 4-corner match. I can't remember all the teams that were involved, but at some point, they thought it was hilarious to tag both of the Outlaws in.
Mm-hmm.
So they both get in. They're in their corner away from everybody else. And the ref comes over to them like, okay, you actually have to start going. They fall down on each other. I believe it's Billy Gunn goes for the pin. And it's, well, they're down. 1, 2, 3. Billy Gunn wins, so the New Age Outlaws win. Since then, there is a rule out there called the Outlaws rule, where you cannot pin or submit your own tag partner.
Yeah, it was June 8th, 1998 episode of Raw.
Thank you.
Back when Raw was still called Raw is War.
Raw is War was the second hour. Monday Night Raw was the first, and then they would switch over to Raw is War for the second hour.
Good to know. I won't ever need to know that.
No, you won't. It had a slightly different intro and everything, too.
Okay, so it was the Legion of Doom 2000 and Skull and 8-Ball from the Disciples of Apocalypse.
Who totally weren't just a racist white gang.
Mm-hmm.
That was a whole storyline.
And it was a triple threat tag match.
Oh, it was a triple threat. Okay. I thought it was 4. Yeah, there used to be a whole like tag team gang war going on. There was the white team and the African American team and the Latino team. And guess who the good guys were?
The white team.
Yeah.
Because it's Vince McMahon.
Yeah. See, things I look back on now in my older age, you go, wow, shit.
But yeah, no, everyone always loves the Latino team because of Eddie. That's a very good point, Aitsu. So, do you guys want to talk about some other weird rules in wrestling? The power of attorney rule. Harlem Heat was the biggest WCW tag team at the time in the late 90s.
Okay, hello, sorry about that.
Hi, we're talking about the Freebird rule, or sorry, not the Freebird rule, the power of attorney rule.
The power of attorney rule, which is like the free rule.
It's like the Freebird rule.
Okay.
But only ever used once.
I mean, that's fair. I heard WCW, so I assume it's bad.
No, so Booker T was the WCW World Television Champion.
Okay, yeah.
While Steve Ray was taking a few months off to rehab from an injury. Booker T gets injured, and rather than have Booker vacate the title, it was decided that Steve Ray, due to power of attorney, was allowed to wrestle in Booker's place.
Yes, and if I remember correctly, his power of attorney was written on a cocktail napkin.
Probably. It was WCW.
It was very dumb, but it led to a neat match between Booker T and Stevie Ray.
Mm-hmm. Just imagine if Becky Lynch, instead of vacating the title, gave Asuka power of attorney over the title.
Oh, goodness. That would be something. That would be creative.
I feel like the WWE has to be able to use that rule, right?
I mean, they own all that history now. They own all the trademarks and whatnot.
Exactly. Oh my god, what about the 3 strikes and you're out rule? That one's one that goes back to the 1940s.
Yeah. I've heard it brought up a couple times in different promotions.
Yeah, so basically, it's a little bit similar to, how in Ring of Honor you're only allowed 3 rope breaks.
For the pure matches.
For the pure matches. It's similar in that if you violate the rules, you are given a strike. You're allowed to violate the rules 2 times before you get kicked out of the match.
Yeah. I remember that coming up a lot in really early 90s WWF.
Mm-hmm. It seems like it would be a pretty good match to bring back, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those things like a tag rope or staying in a fucking cage during a cage match.
Yeah, no, it's just such a weird... It's weird that people are given such free reign to cheat, and the only thing that's stopping you is a 5 count, but you can keep cheating after that 5 count if you break.
Yeah, if you break at 4.5, you're fine.
It's like, but maybe they should bring back the 3 strikes and you're out match.
Maybe. I'd have that in a promotion. That'd be one of the basic rules.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't even need to make it a basic rule, just on occasion, like, when you have the heel who likes to cheat go up against another heel. You're like, I know you're gonna cheat, so my stipulation for this match is that it's a 3 strikes and you're out match.
Yeah, or Daniel Bryan, who was a babyface who used very heelish tactics. Because he was an indie darling. He could.
Daniel Bryan also had, like, I mean, like, that I have till 5 and everything like that is very inspired by, I would think, inspired by William Regal and his whole deal. Like,
malicious compliance almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Although, oh god, there's that one match that's on YouTube. It's the gimmick switch match between Regal and Goldust.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Just watch that. Stupid. It's so stupid. It's such a short match. Most of it is just like the promos leading up to the match.
Yep.
Goldust pulls a Regal and cheats while Regal is doing the Goldust nipple rub. It's very funny.
It's great. Like, William Regal in and of himself is just great to watch from whatever standpoint you want to take.
Okay, so match number 5 on the card. Erica Lee with The Boar versus Killian McMurphy with Big Dust. So, Erica Lee is fed up with potential suitors and gets into a fight with Killian McMurphy. You know, Killian McMurphy and Big Dust are both not exactly the cleanest of wrestlers, let's just say. Nope. They tend to fight a little dirty. And Mama likes dirty. That's not true. Actually, that's true. I'm real tired, Gull. Aaron, I don't think you understand. I'm like that kind of tired where you feel a little drunk. I have not consumed anything other than water.
Oh, I know. I know what stage you're at.
Okay.
You kind of dropped the filter a bit.
Yeah, maybe we wrap this one up soon.
Maybe.
So yeah, I mean, like, Erica Lee is quickly becoming one of my favorite campers.
Oh yeah.
She is very good.
Very colorful too.
And, like, you know, the ultimate 90s girl and everything like that. It was good. I liked it. It was a good match.
I think you like this next match a little bit more, though. Where it was...
The best. A
very good professional wrestler taking on Abby Jane and Abs for the Camp Leapfrog Championship. Except they didn't.
Yeah, because
professional wrestler was talked out of it.
By my favorite and yours, Sydney Bacabella. Former WWE Hall of Famer, Sydney Bacabella.
Bacabella is back. I love it.
It's so good, and I love him so much. That man is so intolerably asshole-ish, and it's the best. They did, when Sydney Bacabella came out, the crowd started chanting, "The worst, the worst,
the worst, the worst, the worst." It was so good. But yeah, he did talk all of them out to just not having the match.
So while they didn't win the title and they didn't get to have their match, they did win the love and adoration of the campers.
Of course. How could you not love Abby Jane and Abs?
Abby Jane is just so sweet, and
Mm-hmm.
her shirt is really cute. So, after all of this, we find out that Boomer and Molly had overheard the Runway and Effie's devious gay plan. The gay agenda, if you will. The gay agenda is to ruin Valentine's Day.
I believe it.
So, Boomer and Molly are like, hey, Still Life, Effie's trying to fuck you over here.
And not in a good way.
No. So, the three of them confront Effie and the Runway. And then, like, alright, we need to have a match. So, Boomer, Molly, the Pop Flyers, and the Runway have a tag match. And this was a very good match.
Yes. There was a lot of back and forth through the whole thing.
It was very fun to watch. You got to see a pair of tag teams that were well suited to work with one another.
Yep.
You got a lot of so one of the things that they talk about as intangibles in hockey is when a player has grit. That's where Gritty's name comes from, right? Like when you have grit, it's that intangible, it's not a thing that shows up on the stat sheet, but it's, how willing you are to go in and dig down and scramble at the puck and throw your body into the corner, take a hit, because when you go into the corner you're probably going to take a hit, but throw your body into the corner chasing after a puck. It's that digging at the, poking your stick at the guy who's got the puck. It's all those little things that you do to gum up the works and grit up the game, and that kind of grit is one of those things that is really important for certain hockey. There's skill players and there's grit players, right? Your skill player is going to be your typical classic sniper. Grit players tend to be down, dirty, digging in, deflecting pucks in front of the net. Make sense?
Yep.
So, in essence, when Molly describes themselves as the grittiest girl in wrestling, that's what they're alluding to, is that both the fact that Flyers fan and that
be a Flyers fan.
But Aaron, do I need to show you the pictures that I have of her with gritty head on?
I know.
So it's that Molly showed a lot of grit and heart, those real hockey intangibles in this match, because there were a couple of times where she was stuck on her own and had to really just tough it out through a really
kind of
endless assault.
Yeah.
And it was one of those it's maybe the best way to describe grit in terms of wrestling is fighting spirit.
Okay, yeah.
They're very similar, right? So Molly had a lot of fighting spirit in this. It was something that I admired a lot from her. It was a really good display of what it means to her to be the grittiest girl in wrestling.
Yeah, definitely.
So the Pop Flyers win with one comeuppance achieved. We're ready for the final match of the night. Effie versus Still Life in a Valentine's Day death match.
And they kind of took that a little bit literally. They went up there and I thought they almost died a couple times.
Yeah, it was. If you watch no other match from indie wrestling in the next year, make it this match.
Yeah.
It was genuinely one of the most impressive looking, heartfelt, moving, and violent matches that I've seen. And you don't expect Still Life to come out there and pull off these really expressively violent moves.
Yeah,
you expect the cheap canvas from Michael's bit,
which she brought out,
and Effie was like, "You're gonna have to do better than that, bitch."
And even then, usually we see still life in very technical matches,
Mm-hmm.
very hook and hold focused. So switch over to elbows to the outside through a table.
Right, like
It's a lot.
it was such a like like you said, it's normally much more technical when you watch still life. This was a very like, you know, with Chikara shutting down and everything like that, you haven't gotten to see a lot of the younger wrestlers from Chikara get put through their paces.
Yeah.
And she got put through her paces, and she just crushed it. Like, my opinion of still life and my like estimates of her stock has always been sky high.
Yeah.
But this just proved that like she's legitimately a talent to be reckoned with in the indie scene right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if like in a year or two she got snatched up by a bigger promotion.
I would still like her to see. I would still like her to see her working these indie shows for like Camp Leapfrog or the tournament stuff. But yeah, no, she's gonna get grabbed up real quick.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, unless she just doesn't want to do that. And like, I can almost guarantee that's, like someone like Warhorse, it'd be insane if he hasn't gotten offers.
Yeah. And it's a call everyone has to make for themselves.
Mm-hmm. And like, you just like I respect Priscilla Kelly for taking the money and going to WWE, I will respect whatever decision any wrestler takes,
Yeah, like I've heard it from a couple wrestlers in different interviews where they talk about where like they would make technically more as indie wrestlers, because if you become a bigger name, you get flown out, your combinations are paid for, et cetera, on top of your pay.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they go to like a bigger promotion and get sign a contract, they get less of a pay, but they don't have to work 8 days a week. So
right, you're trading off the amount of work you're doing for the, you might be making more money, but you're making more money by burning yourself out.
yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, you're talking like MV tweeted about how he kind of misses doing 8 shows in a weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have a match, then sell your own merch afterwards either.
No, it was just, like, speaking of merch, I did buy 2 art prints from Still Life.
Yes, I can't wait till you get those in.
I know, I'm gonna frame them and get them hung up. I'm also, like, when we're a little bit further along, I'm gonna see what her rates are for doing graphic design, because I really think that she would make a phenomenal cover for the book for the game Erica and I were working on.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Still Life through multiple tables, multiple steel chairs. Sorry, tables. I said tables, I meant doors.
Oh yeah, they use doors on these shows, I forgot.
But like, it was a masterpiece of savagery and brutality, the likes of which only a living artwork could put on.
Yep. No, it was a very brutal match. There was a couple points where I had trouble watching because I'm a big wimp like that.
And I was like glued to this match. It was so good. I don't know like how to emphasize it anymore.
It has to be seen.
It has to be seen.
Yeah. It, like any work of art, it has to be experienced in its medium.
Thank you, art snob Aaron.
Let's never do that again.
Oh, but I love art museums so much.
Why? Not a snob.
I mean, like, I'm also not an art snob. I'm an art appreciator.
Okay, fair enough.
I had to grow out of enjoying the concept of being a snob Just to say, I transitioned and started liking things with my whole heart instead of with my how will this make me look.
Yeah. I was just an asshole.
Oh, by the way, Choco Pro is currently going on right now. So anyway, do we want to talk about something else?
There was one other thing. I think we're going to talk about the Dark Order, Matt Hardy, Hangman Page situation briefly. Because a lot has happened.
Okay, I will let you know that I am starting to fade.
Okay, I'll get through it real quick. So we had this whole situation where the Dark Order was trying to recruit Hangman. He said no. They're all heartbroken and upset. And then Matt Hardy comes in and tries to pick up his friendship and have him sign over like half of his paycheck in a drunken stupor.
So Matt Hardy tries to get Hangman to unlawfully sign a contract.
On camera.
Because that contract is non-binding because one party could not consent to it.
Yep. But we found out Hangman was kind of more there than any of us thought.
Now, he was playing it up, for sure.
Threw away the contract and brought out his own.
Right. And we find this out after, like, after Matt does this reveal to Hangman after a match and says, yeah, that contract you signed entitles me to blah, 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 blah. And he's like, Hangman's like, see, I have some friends who told me to always keep an extra set of papers around. Yeah. And I was like, Hangman, I love you.
And it turned out he had him sign a match contract for Revolution with a quarter's pay, like a quarter of the year's pay on the line. And it's amazing because Matt Hardy immediately gets him jumped by TH2 and Isaiah Cassidy, and the Dark Order runs out to save him, and they fight them all off, and they're in the ring.
-1 is there. -1 like runs out first, and he's like, "Go, go, 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 go!"
Yeah, he's directing traffic.
And it's just, oh my god,
I loved it so much. And then on this week's,
I do want to add one more thing from that, which is, in BTE, 5 had made Hangman a really heartfelt Valentine's Day card.
Yeah.
And, like, tried to give it to Hangman personally. Matt Hardy ripped it up. So you have this moment where 5 confronts Matt Hardy in the ring and just starts wailing on him. Like, how dare you do this to my friend? I'm gonna beat the shit out of you now. And it's just like, it was nice because the very next BTE, they started being nice to 5.
Yeah. Yeah, that on this week's, because he also did all the email stuff. I'm in the Dark Order, by the way. I got my confirmation.
Yes. Aaron, what number did you pick? 88?
Yes.
Okay. Don't keep your head down around Silver.
Okay, I won't. But to get back to this real quick, yeah, so on this week's show, there was Hangman Page versus Isaiah Cassidy in what nobody thought was going to be a blowaway match. Because we've seen Mark Quinn in singles action in the TNT title matches, but we haven't seen much from Isaiah Cassidy, and he's just as good. Like, really should assume they're in the tag team together. They're amazing together. They're amazing apart as well. But there was part of this because TH2 is out there as like collateral or damage protection. So halfway through the match, Silver and Reynolds come down and start cheering on Page. Not cheating, not getting involved. They're being baby faces about and just cheering him on. Oh, that was just amazing to me.
I
Because
love
there's
I love getting to see the Dark Order be happy. You know?
yeah. Because they also had that bit on BT this week where Hangman came into their whole thing when they were chanting Hangman fucks.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the show for context. And Uno's out there, like Uno's speaking, and he's like, okay, normally this is when I would ask you to join the Dark Order, but I'm not gonna do that this time. We honestly just want to be your friends. And it's so heartwarming, and I cried.
Yeah, Hangman's like, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. And they exchanged numbers. They took him in to figure out phone numbers, not
555 555 5555.
Yeah. Thank you, 5.
10's phone number is just how to spell out cocaine on your phone.
So yeah, it'll be interesting seeing this going into Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Whether this begins the climb for Hangman back into that main event picture, or if this is like that final stumbling block where he loses the match and has no pay for the next several months, and so has to rely even more on this found family of his.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want Big Money Matt to get comeuppance because he's kind of being an asshole.
Very much, like on several different angles. I'd like to see something for that.
Mm-hmm. But regardless, I'm excited for Revolution.
I decided a while ago I can't predict AEW storylines, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to enjoy them.
Yeah, you know, that's fair. All right, gang. I'm falling asleep at the wheel here.
Time to get out of here.
Time to get out of here. How do I end the show now?
I don't remember how we end the show now.
I think I usually just like jerk them around about doing the thing, huh?
Maybe I can pull up the old
No, they're not
YouTube
worth
video.
it. It's all right, they're not worth it.
It's got 170 views on it on YouTube, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
So if you're watching on YouTube, thanks.
Yeah, no, but I don't think they've earned the ending.
That's fair, I guess.
So I guess we will bid you adieu. Goodbye.
Marking Out with My Girlfriend is a production of Soses Media. Check us out at SOSES.ca. Music has been provided by Sounds Like an Earful.
I'm not high. That's the thing.
I trust her not to be high for the show.
No, like, I wouldn't be able to do a show if I was high. I just have... I wouldn't be able to do a good show.
Not this show.
No, okay, fair. I could probably do an episode of Unsound Theories while high.
Maybe.